I knew that my parents looked different from each other, but I didn't know what that meant. And I didn't know what that meant for me. The first time that I found out that I was Black was when we were living in Montana, in the middle of nowhere in Great Falls, Montana, and one of my white classmates referred to me as that African American girl. And I was like,
what does that mean?
Yeah, I was like, I don't understand that, because, you know, my dad's African American, but my mom's not.
Right.
So what does that mean for me?
Right.
But he just called me African American. He didn't mention that I was Asian. That was like the first time that I realized like the world would see me a certain way, and it didn't matter how I identified. And I was about 7 years old when that happened. And then when I moved to the Philippines, you know, I was bullied for my hair texture and my skin color. So everyone in the Philippines made it very clear that I was Black. You know, and then when I moved to Houston, which was predominantly Black and Hispanic, people were like, "You're not Black, you're Asian."
Right.
And I was like, "What?"
See,
yeah.
Kids are mean.
Yeah. So it was a very confusing time for me, and it really took me until I was like in my early 20s to come to terms with who I was.
For you, at what point did you say, you know what, I'm gonna work on myself, and I'm going to do bap, bap, bap. What did you do in order to conquer your mind, so to speak, right?
I get asked this question a lot, where they ask me like, what was the experience that made you want to do this? And I don't think it was a single experience. I think it was just a buildup of everything. Because I literally just woke up one day when I was like 19, I think 19 or 20, and I was like, I am so tired of hating myself. And it was just exhausting, you know what I mean? And so that's when I just really sat down, I opened up my journal, I wrote down everything that was going on in my mind with myself, because like I said, I didn't talk to anyone about it. It was just bubbling up inside of me. So releasing it on paper helped out a lot.
Right.
And it helped me, I guess, formulate a plan
for
like what I was gonna do next, because I was kind of just going through it by myself. I hadn't told my parents yet. I wasn't in therapy yet. So it was kind of just me trying to work out like, what do I do now in the journal?
Right.
Yeah, I really highly encourage journaling.
I hear that. Also, affirmations, did you do that?
I did. One of the biggest ones was my racial identity. I was like, I am Black, I am Asian. I would tell myself that every single day because growing up, people were telling me the complete opposite.
Right.
So that was like one of the things that really, you know, I really wanted to become comfortable with. So those were the two biggest affirmations.
But did you ever find your voice to people? Like, you know, in situations like that white classmate that called you African American, did you say anything?
I didn't at the time because I didn't understand what that meant. But as I got older and I became more comfortable with myself and I became more confident, now if someone tells me something, and you'll see this all the time on Twitter, like I'm very vocal and outspoken about who I am and my identity. If someone, you know, tells me something, I'm gonna tell them, hey, no, that's not what this is. So I'm very, I don't wanna say combative, but but like if you come for me,
yes,
if you come for me, I'm gonna say something.
Right. So what would you tell people who are maybe experiencing that? It's not just half Asian, half Black. I'm half Chinese, my children are half English, so I'm sensitive that they might feel like a part of themselves is inferior than the other, or they might not understand, or they might not be accepted fully. What do you say to those people? And then there's a lot of half Filipinos, half something all over the world, right? What would you tell them?
Getting a support system is the most important. I think that if you can't find it within like your immediate family or with your friends, go online. That is something that really helped me find community. I found a community of Filipinos who are mixed, and it really helped me become more comfortable in who I was. And you know, just talking it out with people who understand really helped me. And that's kind of the reason why I talk about this all the time on my platform, is because it's not for me, it's for other people. It's for people to see like, oh, she is comfortable being Black and Filipino, that means that I can be too. You know, when I grew up, one of my idols was Apple the App from Black Eyed Peas, because he's Black and Filipino.
Right.
And one time I had a speech at UC Berkeley at a mixed student union convention, and I told that story. I was like, yeah, Apple the App was my guy growing up. And then during the Q&A portion, a girl who was a student who was Black and Filipino took the mic and she said, well, what Apple the App was for you, you are for me.
Aww,
and I started crying. I started bawling my eyes out, because that is exactly the type of work that I wanted to do. So, you know, whenever I talk about my identity, and people think might think that I talk about it all the time, but it's because someone out there needs to hear it.
Cyberbullying is also a big thing now. What advice would you give to people out there who maybe are experiencing it, a form of it, or they don't know how to define it? They don't even know if it's cyberbullying, but it's making them feel uncomfortable.
So what's really interesting is that social media was very different from when I was in high school. And I only graduated like 10 years ago. Okay. And when I was in high school, it was just Facebook. Really at the time. And now there's just so many avenues of communication online. It's so easy to be bullied on Snapchat or Instagram or Twitter. Like, there's so many different formats to be bullied on, I guess. And I think one of the biggest advices that I would give to people is to take a break. Like, if what you're seeing is making you feel bad or making you feel uncomfortable, or it's making you not like yourself, it's okay to just like take a break, put the phone down. I think especially for Gen Z, for the Gen Z generation, your entire life is surrounded around your phone and social media. So I think that if you're constantly seeing something that's not making you feel good, you have to take a break.
Yeah, and it's okay to bud, right? Block, unfollow, delete.
Yes.
It's okay, right?
Yes.
I just coined that now.
Oh, nice.
Right. So, but you're on the other side, you're one of those who have continued to enlarge your territory through social media. What advice would you give? Because like I was talking to you earlier, like even I'm having a hard time, right? I mean, what's it like? Is there a formula? Is there? If you hear people, say there's no formula. Oh, you just have to be consistent. Oh, you have to be this. Like, what is it? What advice would you give to people?
I think that the normal advice is important, be consistent, because you want people to see your content consistently, but I think most of it is authenticity. Like I said, with the movement that I created, I was just speaking about my experiences, and a lot of people resonated with it. I didn't have this plan for it to go viral. I didn't have this plan for any of it, really.
Right.
It just happened. And I think that when you just are being authentically yourself, people can notice it, even if it's through a screen. They can tell when you're being authentic. And I think that when you are unapologetically yourself, that's really where it comes from.
So just putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
But it comes with the good and the bad.
Yes.
Right. And thank you for giving us your advice earlier about how to deal with negativity on social media. You take a break. If they come after you, you need to find your voice as well and speak up and speak out, right? Yes. Speaking of plans, so where do you plan to take this? Are you going to want to keep being, social media, acting, modeling, book?
A
where?
book is an idea I've been toying
See?
with. Yeah. But I just launched a new platform called Sknfluencer, and it's the tagline, I guess you could call it, is it's a digital platform that explores beauty and fashion at the intersection of race, identity, and culture.
Yes.
Something I've always been interested in. That's basically what Magandang Morenex was.
Yes.
So I have that, that includes a podcast. I do online video podcasts, and I have articles and interviews with different people in different industries. So that's something that it's like a passion project for me right now. So that's something I've really been working on. But yeah, I would just love to expand. I love video. I love TV and film. It's something that I've always been interested in, either behind or in front of the camera. So, you know, I just want to tell stories. So whether that's through Sknfluencer or through creating a TV show or even being in a movie, that's just where I want to be. I'm a storyteller. I just want to tell stories.
When you see this, your 11-year-old self, you're 28 now, you see this 11-year-old self move back to Baguio when you're 11, right? And experiencing all these things, or even before that, you know, being called names or being bullied. What would you tell that little girl?
Oh gosh, I would just tell her that it's okay to be who you are. Like, you are who you are, and people are just gonna have to accept it.
And what would you tell your future self? Because it looks like you are on the path to like just greatness, expanding territories, conquering ventures and industries.
If I could say anything to my older self, it would be congratulations.
But thank you so much, and God bless you on your journey.
Thank you. You're asking a lot of questions that most people don't ask, so I really enjoyed this interview.
Oh. Thank you.
Thank you.